Hello friends, so we got some crumpled up comics here. We're gonna take this one out of the bag, but I'm not actually gonna do normal bag removal because I'm afraid I'll incur damage to the comic and introduce ticks, so I'm gonna actually cut it away with scissors. This one that's ready to go in the humidification chamber. Once I get this one cut out of the bag, I'm gonna boil some water and go down to the humidification chamber. We'll take another video of that. And then after that, it's going to be in the humidification chamber for about a minute, and then we're going to put it in the press machine. So anyway, let's see how this goes. I'm going to try not to introduce any ticks into this book. I'm not guaranteed. It's pretty tough to grade as it is. I haven't looked under light yet to see if there's ticks here. I'm assuming there is, but I'm assuming it'll still come back at least a 9. See, this guy's sealed up good. Hopefully I can just put it on the center of the bag here. And the other way. Never done one on this, a comic like this before, that's for sure. Alright. Careful not to slit the book. Make the horizontal slice. Slicey dicey. There we go. Let's get a close-up, see if we can get some ticks in there. Get some light. So anyway, now the next process is I'm going to put some water in a kettle and boil that. But I use Culligan water, and the reason you do that, you don't want to introduce minerals into the paper because that can turn it yellow over time, introduce acidity and mold actually. So you want to use distilled water when you humidify comics. You might not want to do it on cheap comics if you're flipping them, but if you're a preservativist and a conservationist, you want to use distilled water. Alright, let's stop the video. We'll boil some water and go down to the humidification chamber. So anyway, this is my humidification chamber. This is actually an old record player record holder. I painted it white. It was in brass when I found that it started to rust because I was doing so many pressing. So anyway, what you do is you just basically pour the water in there. Actually, I haven't done this in a while. Come back over here. We just set this on the tape floor. Now normally I spread out this comic, but with this one I'm going to humidify it first, get it all nice and soppy, and then maybe I'll spread it out after between the fins. It's even tough to stick it. I don't want to introduce any let's see. There we go. Got that one. This one we can spread out, but since we got a 2-stage process this guy anyway, we'll just put it like that for now. Then we add the water to the tub. Looks like there's a spider in there. I don't think he's gonna live. We can just stick that in there. And we got this lid, just a cardboard box lid that I bought some comics in. The reason you put that on because you get condensation dripping. And you don't want condensation dripping on your comics because sometimes those will be water stains. So we're going to leave that for a minute and check on it again. So anyway, reboil the water, put it back in for over 2 minutes. Let's check it again. Always be wary about drips. Even with this lid sometimes you can get drips. I like to take this out of the chamber. And because we might have to humidify again, put the lid back on. So it's a lot more pliable, and I feel like I can spread it out now. So I think it should go back into the humidification chamber one more time after I spread it out here. Set the comic there. Put that guy there for now. Obviously I'd be a lot more careful if it was a valuable comic, but for this purpose Just spread it out. And because it's an accordion, anyway, we don't have to film this whole thing. It's we'll take a picture after. And yeah. Alright, so we put it back in for a minute after we kind of got it to spread it a little more. I don't normally put them in just like that. I normally spread them out nice and even, but these guys are a little stubborn. But it's a lot more pliable, and like I said, because of winter, it's evaporating. When it's summertime and the humidity is a lot higher, they'll take the moisture a lot better. So we're going to take these over to my press. Alright, so I loaded up my boards into the comic. It's already sitting flatter. You can tell that I didn't bend it at all. I just inserted the paper and it's kind of taking, but like I said, in wintertime, that humidity is almost dissipated already from the comics into the air. So after we press it, it should be all gone. So we got silicone paper, and that's just so it doesn't stick to the board underneath. So we got another layer of silicone paper. We got a swing away press. This is a commercial press. I spent 3,000 Canadian on it. It's digital. I can set pressure with that guy. It's got a pressure gauge on it right here. Can you see that, Josh? That number? So why that's important, so when I do square backs, I try to do it around 4 or 5, and I just adjust it with that knob. So that's why I can do square backs really easy, and treasuries and that sort of thing. And this is a large surface press. You can do 3 comics at a time. So generally I leave those in there for 12 hours. If it's a bigger book, sometimes you'll have to repress it again, or you want to repress it again. So that's why, you know what, guys have a question, why does pressing cost so much money? It's just a machine. It's the amount of time it takes in the machine, because you're taking up that machine for 12 hours. And if you spend $3,000 on a machine, well, you do the math. Those 12 hours, I'm not doing other books like my own. So anyway, this is going to heat up to 215 degrees Celsius. You can do that on anything below copper and below. Modern books, you want to do it about 165. I only press these, heat the temperature for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. The reason I can do that in this press, it keeps the heat well insulated, so I don't have to heat it for a very long time. Yeah, other guys press for, different guys press different ways, and a lot of that has to do with the manufacturer of the press that you got. A lot of the cheaper Chinese presses, they just don't hold the heat, so you'll have to press your books again. That's why I bought a commercial press, because I'm like, I got a lot of stuff to do, and so I didn't want to mess around with cheap stuff. So anyway, we'll turn this off. We'll leave it in here for a couple hours, and you'll notice an immediate difference. And the reason you got to wait, you basically just got to wait till this cools down. But it takes, 3-4 hours to cool down. Hopefully one day someone smart will invent maybe some sort of cooling device, because once you get it hot, I think after about half an hour, if you just immediately, even if you took it down to below 0, that'd be fantastic. Keep it under pressure, see if it doesn't revert or not. But with something extreme like this, you might notice after a few months that it reverts a little bit. It's not going to revert back to, obviously, the bag crumples. It's going to be pretty much golden. But if you were going to submit this, which obviously we're not, because they're not worth anything, but yeah, you'd want to make sure to press it for probably 12 to 24 hours and then send it off to CGC right away. And I hate subbing books in winter, because the temperature differential between Saskatchewan and Florida. So you're going to a very dry climate, very dry cold climate, to a very humid hot climate, and that can affect reversion on pressing as well. So that's why even some of my bigger books, I still get them quick pressed at CGC, because for the small cost and the extra weight, I'd rather get that grade bump and ensure that my presses hold. But when they get my books, they're all cleaned, pressed, ready to go. So hopefully they appreciate the work that goes into it. And plus, by pre-pressing my books, I know what grade I'm getting. So within a 0.2 to 0.5, depending on the book. So pre-pressing it makes a big advantage in choosing whether or not to submit to CGC or not. So anyway, we'll let that go up to 215 and we'll check back in a few hours. Alright, it's been about 3 hours, not long enough for a good solid press. Just want to check the temperature here to see if it cooled down. It's at 89, so that's pretty cool. Feels, no, it still feels a little warm, so, but let's check it out. Oh yeah, I think I made a food bar on the past video on the temperature. I think I said 215 degrees Celsius is actually Fahrenheit on this. I can change it on the digital display, but I just didn't. So anyway, old school. Miles, kilometers get screwed up. So anyway, these look a little bit better. Not sure how many spine ticks. We'd have to zoom right in and stuff. I'm assuming there's still some, but as you can see, a vast improvement before and after. I mean, if I would have sent that Silver Surfer into CGC that way, that would have been funny. Would have been like, try to stick that in a case. That wouldn't have happened. So anyway, like I said, I normally it's 12 hours minimum in there, unless I'm just doing a really quick press for something that had a little slight flaw or a repress. I mean, back's all nice and flat with the spine. So with CG, I saw this on a CGC video, how they actually differentiate between some 9.6s and 9.8s. They run their thumb across here, and they feel for any indentations without even looking at it. And this, I obviously feel, God, I feel like 20. This one, oh, one right there, 2, 3, 4, maybe a 5, 6. So, I don't know, pretty good. That one's pretty bad. I don't have my glasses, but still, presentable book. You know, I grade that probably at 7.5 to 8, just because of that bad tick. But anyway, that's pressing in a nutshell. Didn't do any cleaning. Maybe one time I'll do a cleaning video. That's where all the work is really sucks up your time. Sometimes it takes 5 to 10 minutes to clean a book, sometimes longer. Anyway, thank you.